Welcome to the Inoxico Fabric platform. Once you have successfully logged onto the system, this will be your landing page. You would have access to the Select a Process tile and the Action Center. The Action Center is where you would view all the current applications that are loaded in the system, and you can track where they are currently sitting. Select a Process is where you would go in to kick off a specific workflow. The process will start off with the requester. They would then click on Select a Process on the View button in order to search for a specific company. They would have access to specific workflows loaded in your organization. You could either send an application for a credit or for a supplier. Once the requester is ready to send the application, they would click on that specific workflow on the Start button. The system will then take them to the search page where they would search for a specific company. The system is defaulted to company, but if you would like to search for a sole proprietor, you would click on person and add in the ID number. Once you are ready to search for that specific company, you would add in the company name. You can do a search with the name, the back number, or the registration number. The system will populate all the results that we currently have in our database. If you do a search using a registration number, it will bring up a direct hit for that company. In an instance where you have done a search and nothing appears under the search results, you can click on Can't Find Your Company, Add It Now, and you would then need to populate the customer details. In an instance where the company is available on our database, the customer details would auto-populate. The requester would need to add in the customer contact information. The information is quite important, as the email address added in this section will be used to send the application to the customer for completion. Once you have completed this section, you would click on Continue. You would then need to specify the terms as well as the credit limit. The system would then auto-default the specific type of report. Once the information has been completed, you would click on Initiate. The system would now do the auto-validation checks in the back end, and you would get a notification that the application has been sent and is currently being processed. The application will now move to the initial risk reviewer in your organization, where they would view the risks on that specific company. The initial risk reviewer in your organization will receive an email where they would need to review the risk checks and approve the application in order to send it to the customer. The risk checks that have been done in the back end will appear on the risk check section. If there's anything that has failed, for example, if they are in deregistration or in liquidation, or there's judgments on the company, the initial risk reviewer can decline the application and the application will not be sent to the customer for completion. If they are happy with the risk checks, they would then click on Submit the application, and the application would now be sent to the customer. Your customer will now receive an email stating that they've applied to be a customer at your company, and they would need to click on Complete Application. The system will now open up the credit application that they would need to complete. If they are not authorized to provide the information, they do have the option to reassign the application at any point during the process. They would need to provide the details of the person who they would need to reassign it to and click on Reassign Application. The customer would now need to complete the full application. there may be additional questions that you would like the customer to complete on your credit application. This can be customized. The customer would now need to read the terms and conditions that may be loaded in the system and accept the terms and conditions. The last section of the application form is where they would sign. The system would auto-populate the current active directors of the business. If it is a director, they would select their name and upload a copy of the ID document. If they are not a director and they select other, they would need to provide their full name, attach a copy of their ID and a board resolution that shows that they have authority to sign the application. Once they have signed the application, the system will send an OTP to that person as a security measure. The one-time PIN will come to the email and they would need to take that one-time PIN and add it to the one-time PIN section on the application form. Once they have added in the one-time PIN, the customer would click submit, and that's the application completed. The application would now come into Inoxico, where we would do our due diligence checks and compile our report. The application will now move to the final approver in your organization. The final approver will receive an email stating that they would need to view the risk checks on the company. Once they click on view results, they would be able to see the overall full credit application or supplier application that the customer has completed, and it would have the specific fields available as well as all as the necessary documents. They would also be able to view the full Inoxico report that accompanies that specific application. The decision engine would then tell you whether or not we recommend that you decline, approve, or refer the application. This is the Inoxico report that we would have compiled from our side. The final approver can now decide if they are going to decline or approve the specific application of this customer. Once they approve, they would need to provide motivation, as well as if they decline the application. And that basically brings us to the end of the application. The Action Center is where you could actually view all the applications that have been initiated on the system. You also have the abilities to search for the company name. You have a view of all the overdue applications and which stage they are currently sitting under. You would also have access to all the completed applications and any application that is still pending. If you need to go back to the home page, you would click on your company logo and it would take you back to the home page, and you would then be able to initiate another application. Thank you.